Your name?
My name's Paul. I'm from Fairfield, Iowa. This is my friend Bo. He's a ball python who's about 15 years old, and he is right now beginning his monthly shed. Every month he goes through this molting process, and you can kind of see skin just comes right off, kind of like the way people lose their skin. It just flakes right off. But yeah, I want to tell a story a little bit about some of the places and some of the events that I've experienced.
Do you have any snake stories?
Yeah, well, specifically in Arizona, my brother and I used to dig up rattlesnakes, and we would go, into the desert. We walk around. We basically wait till they either found us or we found them. When they find you, they rattle and they let you know that they're not happy that you're in their area. But if sometimes you do see them first and you're able to, grab a stick and kind of dig them out of their hiding spot, so to speak, and then you're able to observe them and handle them. I would never handle a rattlesnake like this, but we've certainly done some things that are, equally interesting with wild snakes and things like that.
Does he go around your neck or anything like that?
He does, but this particular guy is, dealing with some pretty heavy shedding, so I don't want to upset him too much. We want to keep him comfortable.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just kind of losing the skin. He's still growing. They never stop growing. So all snakes will continue to grow throughout their entire lives.
Wow.
And yeah, but he's a pretty big ball python. They get.
So what did you do when you find the snakes, these rattlesnakes?
We'd kind of, first identify what kind they are, first of all. And then we typically go, mate, stop it. He's going to eat your hat.
Oh.
There we go. So, yeah, typically what we do, we'd identify what they were, and then after we got, a decent amount of understanding of what we were dealing with, you grab a stick or you grab whatever you may have around you, and you sort of coax them to come out, and once they get out and into an open area a little bit, they're easy to work with, and you can kind of pick them up and, you get them get one hand with a stick and one hand with, on the tail or whatever, and you can kind of manipulate them and spend a little time with them and then let them on their way. You certainly don't want to upset them too much, but... What
kind of dog do you have?
This is my dog, Mate. He's an Australian cattle dog who is pretty relentless about trying to figure out what he wants to do. So, come here, buddy. Come over here. Say hi to the camera, will you? No, you don't want to play today? But...
Okay, how about do you have any bear stories or anything like that?
We have numerous bear stories. Yeah, I've dealt with grizzlies, I've dealt with black bear. We've seen them all. We've seen them all in the wild. We've followed them everywhere. But one of the best stories I have about a bear is one day we came home from a restaurant, my dad, my brother, and I, and as we're approaching the house, we see this big, it was a young black bear, but he was quite a good size, come pouring out of our kitchen window and take off into the woods. And we thought, wow, that's pretty interesting. It's not every day you come home and see a bear come dumping out of your house. But, we kind of went in the house, we went around the side and, checked out to see if he had done any damage or anything. And as we're walking in the house, I opened the front door, and there I see the bear coming back in the house, which was quite an interesting sight. To see an actual bear, normally they're afraid of you and they'll run from you. But this bear was actually coming back in the house, and I told everybody to stay still. We froze right where we were and we watched him, and he came back in over the kitchen sink down into the living room and grabs a 45-pound bag of dog food right in his mouth, kind of stuffs it under his arm, and then takes off back out the window and runs into the woods with the dog food. So he definitely had an agenda when he had come in the house. And
did you guys ever make it up to Alaska?
We've been to Alaska, yeah. We've my brother and I have seen numerous grizzlies there. We probably saw a couple dozen all over different parts, but we tracked grizzlies in some different riverbeds and things, and we had a couple very close calls. We had tracked one for about 2 miles, came back to the place where we went in, and we followed the tracks in a big loop. And as we came up, we kind of looked over, we saw him, he had just drug a moose calf, actually, that's what we were following, the big footprints, big, grizzly footprints, and then you saw this sort of item that was being dragged alongside of it. So as we got up there, we saw the grizzly, we saw the moose calf that he had taken down, and he's sort of working on it, and really too close for comfort as far as I can tell. There were people up taking photographs of the bear and these kind of things, and as we're trying to get away from him, he's working on this carcass, which is not something you want to be associated with. You don't want to come between a bear and its meal. Certainly, that is the last place you want to be. But we managed to get out of that one okay and get back to our car safely and just take some photographs.
How close did you get to him?
30 yards, which is way too close. It
Yeah.
just happened to be that the trail that we went in and out of, when we were on our way out, he was only about 30 yards to the left of us, just south of it. So.
Wow. What about moose?
Yeah.
Did you have any other?
We've seen numerous moose in Montana. There's a lot of moose, and when you see a moose, it's always such an amazing thing because they're such a stoic animal and they're so large. You can't possibly imagine how big they are until you see them in the wild. I mean, photographs do not do them justice. I mean, people always talk about how big bear are and these kind of things, but a moose is a truly, truly enormous animal. And we followed a moose track into the forest one day. We found some near our house on the road that we lived on. We followed him into the woods, and we must have tracked it about 2 miles following it in there, and we finally came upon the moose, and it's a good-sized female moose. What we didn't know, because we'd only followed one set of tracks, is that about 40 feet, 50 feet to our right, there was a moose calf that she had just given birth to. And that's another situation you don't want to be in, is coming between a mother moose and her calf. And so what we did, she started to make some noises and put on an aggressive display, and we feared for our safety a little bit, but what we did is we actually climbed up the trees, sort of, to get away from the moose. But
You feared for them a little bit, and that's why you climbed the trees?
A little bit, yeah. They're certainly dangerous when you...
So you were really scared?
Yes. That time, I mean, there are certain animals that you feel comfortable with, and there are certain animals that you don't. And a mother moose is an animal I certainly don't feel comfortable around. They are very unpredictable, and in fact, probably hurt a lot more people every year than a bear ever would.
So you guys basically were Tarzan trying to get out of the...
We climbed up the pine trees, and then sort of, made our way from tree to tree until we got far enough away that we felt comfortable coming back down.
How'd you get from tree to tree?
Jumping.
You jumped from one limb to another like a squirrel?
Well, yeah, basically. And they were, large enough branches that we were able to sort of manipulate our way over, and it took a little bit of time and effort, but it was certainly worth it to get out of harm's way there.